wonderful, and then next thing you know, behind camera, they're cussing people out. So it's like, and I've literally seen that happen. So it's like, don't. It's a book, right? That we need to. It's several books that we need to read. But I was just thinking that the book that I'm thinking about is "Don't Believe Everything You Think." Well, in this one, in this notion, don't believe everything you see, because at the end of the day, the truth is the only thing that should be coming across. And if it's not the truth, then what else is there? A lie.
And there you have it, folks. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that like button, share this podcast with somebody that you feel may benefit from it. So moving down to the next question, gentlemen. Um, are men being silenced or are they being held accountable for what they say? Now, you can answer it however you want to answer it. Okay. So um, feel free.
So since Gaddy went first the last time, I'll go first this time. All right, I let you off the hook, bro. I think it can be a little bit of both.
Mm,
I will start there. There are some people, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Well, before I say that, we live in a world where we have embraced the notion of freedom to speak. That's my immature side. My mature side says I have the freedom to speak, but I should not always freely speak. There are some people who are talking who really need to be quiet. I'm just going to be as blunt as I possibly can be. They're not trying to help anybody. They don't mean anybody that they're talking to any good. The only reason they're talking to you is because they got your attention and YouTube is paying them for it. That is the answer. So, should those people be silent? Yes. Should they be silenced? No, I don't think you should silence anybody. Now, on the other side, there is a level of accountability that must exist. If it's something that you really and truly do believe and something that you talk about all the time, that should be your own accountability metric. And the people that you're in relationship with, they should be able to hold you accountable for your words. Again, I can't stress that piece enough. So, are men being silenced? Sure, to a certain degree, but those men that are being silenced, are they being held accountable? I don't think you can hold a person accountable by making them be silent, right? Accountability means that I actually recognize the thing that I did and I own every bit of it. Well, I will never know if you own every bit of it if it does not come out of your mouth. So at the end of the day, when we look at those men that are being silenced, sure, it happens, but there is no accountability in silence. It's only obedience in silence. And what this world has done is trying to whip certain men into being obedient to the standard that they created. Now, again, the other side, I got it. The people who are telling the truth, the people who are trying to help people, so forth and so on, a lot of them aren't getting the traction that they should get. There are some, don't get me wrong, there are some that gets thousands and millions of views, and which is awesome. And I'm not just talking about on a platform, I'm talking about in the social community as well. There are some who get thousands and millions of views and followers and things of that nature, but generally they have some type of financial status to go along with it, which is why they get that type of following in the first place. So on that side of the coin, those men are given the latitude and the liberty to say what they want to say, how they want to say it, and you're going to still follow them because they make a lot of money. You think in some degree they're going to teach you how to make the money that they made. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. There's two things that factor in when we start talking about money. It's time and skill set. The skill set at the right time would generate you the income that you really want. But at the end of the day, a lot of us have to build ourselves up to that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. That's a whole nother conversation, though. But those are the people who get the freedom to speak because you are enamored by their dollars and not necessarily hearing the words that they're saying. So when we start looking at this whole silence versus accountability thing, right, we got to realize that accountability only happens when the person becomes self-aware and open their mouth and then recognize what they did was wrong, what they said was wrong, apologize for it, and then change what they're actually doing. Can't silence that person.
I'm I'm looking at this question in two different facets, right? I think Coach kind of hit on them. You have two different type of ways of silencing. You have those who have public platforms, such as social media, YouTube, or they're just public figures, celebrities or whatnot. And then you have just us, we men. We live every day. We trying to raise our kids. We're trying to take care of our families. And so it looks different, right? So if I'm talking about uh, Dr. Peterson, he started off by speaking boldly his stance on everything going on. His and so his audience is built organically off of his actual views. You can't silence that. Only like YouTube can silence him. They can stop pushing his videos. They could, they can mess up his algorithm, how he pops up on algorithms and stuff like that. But his audience is his audience because they genuinely flock to what he's saying. But when you are such a public figure to the point to where you have such a wide variety and you actually care about what your audience is, like Coach said last point, that you're talking to your or for your audience and not to your audience, that man can be silenced because they can unfollow, they can unsubscribe, they can stop, they can jump off his Patreon, stop buying his merch, they can stop viewing his videos and lower his income, right? That you can silence that man, but you can't silence someone. And this is why truth is so important, because if I'm starting with truth and that's the basis of how I build my audience, then you can't silence me because I'm already speaking to the people who want to hear the truth. Right? For guys like you and me every day, it's difficult to really pinpoint. Like, so can a man like me be silenced? Yes. And I'm gonna tell you why I say yes. Because if my kids don't live in my house, they're under the direct influence of their mothers and their mother's family. And so if the mothers disagree with what I'm saying, they can put an image in my kid's head that silences my voice to my children, at least until they get older and they decide for themselves if they want to hear what I got to say. But at this point of raising them up, those mothers have a social power to silence my voice in our kid's ear, right? Because she don't agree with me, or her feelings don't align with what I believe or what I say. So something like that, in that form or facet, yes, but not in a sense of make me stop saying what is true or believing what is true. I can still speak it, right? There's a such thing as come what may. I come what may, I'm gonna say what's true. I'm gonna say what thus says the Most High, not what somebody else feels or what Pastor so and so says. I'm not regurgitating. I'm saying what I believe to be the truth. And so you can't silence me that way, but you can definitely put out a narrative that silences my voice in our children's ear or in a certain audience ear, right? So that, I hope that made sense, because it's not a direct answer to me.
I think it does make sense, but I think the issue for me in my mind is that even if you poison the mind of my children to where they don't want to hear what it is that I'm saying, that still isn't silencing me. That's just them turning away from my voice. But the consistency of the things that I am saying over a period of time, well, maybe what you will find, what I have found, I say it that way, is that it draws them back. So it's not that you ever was silent, it's that there's a degree of truth that you're consistently sharing. And number one, it's for their good. It's actually for the betterment and for their progression as well. And when they see that over a period of time, compared to what was told to them beforehand, now they get to measure what they heard to what they're hearing. And when they start opening their ears back up and start hearing what is actually coming out of your mouth, they realize that they never should have turned away from your voice in the beginning.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually I kind of with you, Coach. I kind of believe there's a little bit a little bit of both. But what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pick a side so that way people can either rock with me or they can think about it and they can come up with a whole different side of it, and that's fine too. But I think some of this may have to do with not space and opportunity, but like what space you're in and what the topic is about. There are certain topics that we could talk about, but if we're in a different space, people are going to hold us accountable for what we say. And some people are going to dog us out about the same thing. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes when we're looking at being silenced, like Coach mentioned earlier, like you can't silence me in my around my own people. You know what I mean? Like if I'm talking like this and blah 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 blah, and you don't like it, you can turn it. It's like a good example. I'll say this: David Goggins, right? There's a guy, he has a very foul mouth, as some people would say. He says a lot of cuss words and stuff like this. I personally like him, but a lot of people don't because I can look past the words and the profanity to get the message, but not everybody can do that. So someone who may be super or hypersensitive to swear words or cuss words, they may feel like that they're silencing or counseling this person, but in his space people fine with him. Ain't nobody in the David Goggins era, or David Goggins not era, but the space, like his fans, they don't care about his profanity because the message that he delivers is more important than the words. And if somebody who's been in the military, I used to have a horrible potty mouth back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So, bro, every other word on my mouth was a swear word. You know what I'm saying? But that didn't define me. But I had a whole bunch of good messages to my soldiers amongst those swear words. So the swear words wasn't a big deal. But like I said, I think some of this also has to do with the spaces and the topics that you're talking about. At least in my opinion. But here's
We
what I
call
want to
we
go
call them
ahead.
we call them adjectives, adverbs, and superlatives.
There you go. I like that last word, superlatives. I ain't learned that word in school. Did they teach us that? They did. In what grade, man? I gotta somebody, if you out there, look up superlatives and see what grade level word that is. Like there's every grade level have like a word list of, kind of sort of words you should know about certain grades. So superlatives, see what grade level that is. I'm interested.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember that word, man. But I ain't pay attention in English either, so it may be part of it. So here's the question for the panel and the audience, and I'll start it. What's a moment in your life when speaking your truth cost you something, but you knew you couldn't stay silent? I have somebody that I know, and I was very passionate with them about their weight. Um, Not because I wanted to change who they were, but it was very unhealthy, right? And it kind of cost me maybe a friendship. It didn't cost me a friendship. It cost me some time in this person's life. They pretty much didn't want to deal with me anymore after the conversation. So for a certain amount of time, it cost me part of my relationship. And I don't think that my delivery was wrong. I think the timing was bad. It wasn't the right time to have the conversation about the weight, even though in my mind I was so adamant because I was like, you know, I just want this person to be healthy. I don't want this person to die. So in my mind, I'm thinking extreme. I decide to open my mouth, have the conversation about it. The conversation, it was direct, but it probably could have went a little bit better. You know what I mean? Um, but it cost me my relationship with that person for a certain amount of time. So at the time I felt like I couldn't stay silent. To this day, I still think that I should have had the conversation. But I think that the only thing that I would not necessarily regret, but if I were to go back and do it again, I would just change the timing of the conversation. What do you guys think? Or what are your thoughts? Or next. There you go.
Yeah. I could think of a couple of times because I think sometimes I just don't know how to put my two lips together when other people think I should. But I would actually I'm gonna go with military with a military one because, and I'm not going to use names just in case any bad buddies go back and watch this and end up knowing who I'm talking about. So I'm not going to say a location. I'm not going to say duty. So I'm just going to say the story. All right. But I knew an officer that that I worked closely with that had some type of direct influence on what happened next, at least immediately in my career. Right. And saw how the person moved, saw how they dealt with certain type of soldiers, right, of the different anatomy, and watched them reprimand or down talk other people for how they moved and how they behaved and how they wasn't this, how they wasn't that. But in the same time, I'm watching this other soldier's life unravel. Her spouse was in the same unit and he started to lose his mind, and because he kind of felt something was going on and things just went crazy. And I didn't go to the husband, I didn't go to the soldier, I went to him and I said, not just on straight up saying, you got to put a halt to this. Like, I'm watching this affect people's life, all this other stuff, and it's not what you stand on. You hold this standard to those of us who work under you, but we see you moving opposite. And I don't know if you're watching how it affects everybody that's here, but it's affecting everything. I have to work in this environment. We all have to work in this environment. We all in this unit together. I think you should put a halt to it. It was just getting bad, like things that I'm just not going to speak on here, but it got bad overall. And so I spoke on it, and then all of a sudden I started noticing the schools I had school dates for and stuff I was supposed to go to, just they were getting canceled as they got close, one at a time. Like, what? Oh no, you need it for this. Oh no, you need it for that detail. Oh no, we're gonna put you here. Oh no, we need you to do this. Check Raj, you know, and it kind of put a little stagnant. It made some things stagnant in my career, but I even tried to. I tried not to, put his career before the command team. But eventually, when I felt like my career was being halted for it, I spoke up, and at least during the tenure of that group, I became the guy that you can't be cool around, that you can't be this around. You can be cool around me, I just don't. That's not cool. But
I guess my response is going to be very unpopular because looking at this question, not my truth, but the truth. I think somebody said that in the chat. Speaking the truth didn't cost me anything. If it quote unquote damaged the relationship, it wasn't a relationship that was for me in the first place. And I think I've kind of always had that mentality, because at the end of the day, if we have a relationship, I should be able to be honest with you. If I can't be honest with you, then that tells me a lot that I need to know about this relationship. And oh yeah, by the way, I think somebody mentioned judged or whatever. If you feel judged, go get counseling. I'm just telling you the truth. If someone speaking the truth, being transparent and honest with you is a problem, then that says a lot about the relationship. So speaking the truth never cost me anything. If anything, it identified some things. It identified that I probably spent too much time with the wrong people.
I like the identity. I like the identity piece in there. Appreciate all the comments and information and your participation in the chat this evening. I think I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Nah, not yet. Not yet. One more question, then I'm gonna change it up. All right, so here's this should be a quick one. We shouldn't probably wouldn't take a long time on this one. We only got through 3 questions so far. We 40 minutes in. Jeez, we've been rolling night. So I appreciate all the words, gentlemen. Is council culture, and this may be kind of similar to the I think it may be a little bit different. Is council culture a form of justice or just digital mob rule? And going back to that, the digital mob rule, here's what I'll do. I scroll across the bottom. So digital mob is a group of online users who collectively criticize, attack, or attempt to cancel someone through social media platforms, often emotionally charged and swift moving. So again, gentlemen, is cancel culture a form of justice or a just digital mob?
When I look at the
You muted again.
I'm having issues with this mute button here over here. I apologize. But when I look at this, criticize, attack, cancel, but there it is, emotionally charged. 9 times out of 10, the things that we are emotionally charged about isn't just. So when we look at cancel culture is not a form of justice because it's not just. It is basically an opinion that a group of people have because at the end of the day, somebody is sharing some 9 times out of 10 objective information that they don't like. And because they don't like it, now that person needs to be canceled. And so when you look at the digital mob rule, whatever that rule may be, it is just a herd. It is a herd of like-minded thinkers. And that being said, they try to, blackball a particular person. So it is absolutely not justice at all because it's not just.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I agree that it's not just, and I like what you said because for me, I wouldn't even say like-minded because if I have to emotionally charge you to get you on my side, then I'm not really allowing you to operate in your mind. I'm pulling you out of your mind. I'm trying to shape your thinking based upon emotions. Uh, and I think that's how a lot of people get deceived into believing justice is at hand, when in reality, it's just feelings. You just don't feel good about what was said or about what happened. But who am I to tell you if I don't like a content, I go through YouTube a lot, and a lot of times I skip videos because I don't care about what's being said. I don't like it or I don't agree with it. So I skip. They still talking. I'm just not listening. Like, it's that simple. Like, who am I to get on there and say, you better stop talking, you hurt my feelings, you? No, just move on to the next. But I think we disguise canceling as justice because of the emotional charge.
Is council culture a form of justice or just digital mob rule? I'm going with or just digital mob rule all day long. Like Gary was just saying, I'm scrolling. If I don't want to hear David Goggins' foul mouth, I'm just going to scroll, twist my thumb up one more time. Swipe north, swipe up, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like the fact overall in general terms, I don't like cancellation, right? I don't like that Gaddy have an opinion on a platform, and because his opinion is not necessarily liked, people can come for him and they will, because of money and stuff, they'll throw him off the platform versus him just being able to have his own opinion. And I do think that there may be some extremes. And if you're breaking the law, saying certain things, then I think that there is a line. But I do think that when I'm about to go into something different, so I ain't gonna go down that road. But I think for overall, it's the digital mob rule. You know what I mean? Like you said, there ain't no form of justice. You know, who are you guys to say that this person should be counseled? You know what I mean? Based off of y'all perspective or y'all opinion. You know, I don't necessarily agree with it. That's my 2 cents on the matter. What I'm gonna do, man, I'm gonna go down to a would you rather. So I got 6 would you rather questions. Chat, feel free and to be part of these. And I kind of want to see what you guys think about these. So the first one, and chat, feel free to put in your perspective or your opinion or your rather in the chat so we can kind of see what you guys thinking about as we go along these. So it's 6 of them. So the first one is this: would you rather be canceled publicly or silenced quietly? Cancel me.
I'm about to say, I don't know if I care.
Cancel me.
I don't know if I care either way. Cancel me or silence quickly. Like, how you silence me quickly or slowly? Like,
Yeah, this is I don't know. Public silence or silent quiet. I'm with Gad. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. It doesn't matter. The key is or. Would you rather? So the key, the intent is to pick one. Well, we're trying for number 2.
Okay. So to your point, you gave us the same question. Really?
I did.
Yeah. Like I mean,
It
it's a public thing or a silence thing, but the end state is still the same.
Okay. All right, I'll rock with that. Let's move on. I get it now. I get it now. All right, so 2. Lose followers for being honest or gain them for being agreeable.
A.
Lose them.
Yeah,
I don't care. Number 3, be respected for your truth or accepted for your silence. That's an easy one.
A.
Stand alone in conviction or blend in with the crowd.
A.
What? Stand alone? All right. Offended by a stranger. I said the same thing too. Or betray your identity.
A.
Offend a stranger. Okay. Last one. Apologize for growth or be proud of your past.
B.
Yeah, definitely B.
Yeah.
Definitely B.
Can I do both?
Yes, but I want to know why.
I don't know.
I want to know more about the apologize for growth.
I'm just asking a random question.
Oh,
some people may hurt other people's feeling because they're not where they used to be, and so they're losing relationships, right? I mean, if that's something that moves them, and so maybe they feel the need to apologize.
I just had a conversation with someone about that, and they felt a certain way because they had progressed to a certain level in life, and others around them didn't. You know, I went through that, being like a long time ago. I can't tell the story without. Yeah, I can't tell the story without putting somebody on blast. So.
I'm about to say, ain't no crying in baseball.
Yeah.
No, so okay, can I real quick? So if the only way I can do both is if I'm apologizing because maybe the way I went about in my growth journey made you feel as if you were no longer good enough as
you lost me at feel.
No. But hear what I'm saying. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I really don't. That's why I'm like, but sometimes on our growth journey, we can begin like there's certain things that I don't let in my space no more. Certain behaviors I don't hang around no more. So if I went about separating myself from you in a manner that came across to you as if I disrespected you or I felt like I was above you or something like that, I'm not here to make you feel low. I'm here to grow. And so it's not my intent to make you feel low or make you feel some sort of way. Now, if it's my growth that makes you feel that way, either examine yourself, seek counseling, like Coach would say, or grow on your own journey. But if it's something that I did on my way, because sometimes I think people do that. People get a little bit more money, people get a better education, and so the way that they act when they come around family that ain't got it or something like that. If I'm coming around you, I'm not going to treat you less than because I gained something. So if that's my behavior, then accountability has to come into I apologize. But if it's just simply because I don't accept certain behaviors, I'm not apologizing for that.
So you saying you would apologize for your behaviors kind of if you were out of line, but not necessarily.
Yeah. If like if I, let's say I go put up a video and tomorrow that video gets 1 million views, and I get on here and I start talking to you brothers like I'm on it, like there's an air about me now, and I start dismissing y'all. What? Who am I? Like, now I've done something to damage this relationship with these brothers. At some point in my life, I have to take accountability for that. When y'all come in, my bad, go ahead.
No, but that wouldn't be the growth that you're apologizing for. It's your behavior that you're apologizing for.
Right.
Okay. I got it. I like that. Me unscrewing. The next question up is this: how can men balance conviction and compassion when facing cultural pushback? And whatever the cultural pushback is, whatever you want it to be. How you define cultural, how you define pushback is totally up to you.
I think you up, Getty.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I think this one on me. Whew. I was hoping I was wrong. Balance, conviction, and see, this is a hard topic for me because some of this stuff I'm just like, man, get over it.
You may be here to help somebody else from lessons learned from your experiences.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I definitely get conviction and compassion, right? Because I can be convicted enough to speak a truth, but not try to destroy lives or stuff like that in the process, right? But when we talk about facing cultural pushback, like the when I hear that term, that's what's messing it up for me. Because when I think of cultural pushback, I think about how some guys are told because they learn how to pronounce or enunciate words properly. Oh, you're not black. Oh, you talk like you this. You're not us. You're not this, right? That, to me, that's cultural pushback. And so when I see that, like conviction and compassion, like, I got other words for you, really. Because I can really care. Like me learning how to speak a way I want to know how to speak. That's just maybe how I want to articulate myself. And so where do I have compassion at? Get over it. Because you're the one that's losing compassion by pushing back at me for this journey of wanting to learn how to speak properly, or what I believe to be proper. And now I do understand that there is a such thing as called, Black vernacular. There's certain things we as a people we say, and because I look at Coach, and I think he's a very well articulate man, but he doesn't mean he lost sight of vernacular that is cultural, right? And so anybody who comes and say, "Oh, you're not black, you're not this, you're not for the people because you speak like this," I don't really that it's hard for me to get in the middle of conviction and compassion on a scenario such as that. Like, I'm just going to stand on what I stand on, because this is me. This is how I want to speak. This is how I talk. This is what I've worked hard to gain, and I'm not going to be any form of apologetic because of it. But I don't think, I'm kind of getting where you're going. I don't think that I need to now become disrespectful because you're disrespectful. I think that that's the thing. You could treat me or talk about me, don't mean that I have to now meet you at your level. But then sometimes there's some people who need to be met, who need to be met face to face.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of give an example, and then I'll answer the question. The way I kind of thought about it, right? So one of the things, and this is just one example. One example where men sometimes get cultural pushback is when they date outside of their race, right? Can we agree that sometimes that happens? Not all the time, but sometimes it happens. So what happens doing that, if you are a stand-up type of guy and you may got yourself together, people may come at you and people may want to have conversation with you, whether individually or whether you're on social media and you have a huge platform. So you wanting to maintain your level of who you are as a man, there are going to be some conviction that's going to come to you, but you also want to make sure that if you have some sort of platform or you are the man, you want to remain compassionate. And that's kind of where I'm thinking about when it comes to the conviction and the compassion piece. I'm not really worried about getting convicted for something that I'm doing just because someone in my cultural may not like it or may not agree with it. I'll have compassion for them. Maybe I'll pray for them, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's them, and that's how they decide that they want to push back on my decisions that I'm making in my life. If I decide to date or marry outside of my race, that's me. I ain't worried about being convicted by you. I ain't worried about the compassion, you know what I mean, to a certain extent, because just because I'm a part of that culture, just because you think I'm a part of your culture because I look a certain way does not mean that I subscribe to being part of your per se culture. Because the people in my culture, we accept people for whoever they are, regardless of what's on necessarily on the outside. So I think in my situation, in my kind of story that I'm kind of talking about, when I think that sometimes when people date outside of their race, is I think sometimes those problems come to you or come to those people when these things happen. Like I said, with the cultural pushback and stuff like that. So because it happens. But what are y'all thoughts, Coach?
So, looking at the question, I'll start off. The question feels difficult to answer because you can't balance conviction and compassion. They're two totally different things. The opposite of conviction is not compassion. The opposite of compassion is not conviction. So when I'm trying to balance these two, it's very difficult to put in words. So when you look at this question, how can men balance those two things? Well, the question, in my opinion, is should they? No, they shouldn't. Like, like at the end of the day, I use your example. I don't think you married who you married to get cultural approval. I'm just saying, and we've been saying this for a long time. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Everybody who look like you ain't for you. I'm not called to everybody who look like me. I'm not called to everybody. When I understand that part, then I'm not necessarily concerned about what everybody's quote unquote pushback looks like. When we first started, and like Gaddy was talking about, like we'll talk about the scriptures, we'll talk about the gospel, you know, when we started talking Bible and talking about what the Bible said, there's a lot of pushback because we're talking Bible, they're talking church. I don't care about what your pastor say. I'm talking about what the Bible say. So at the end of the day, am I torn between conviction and compassion? No, I'm not. Not at all. Either you hear it, you accept it, or not. That's your choice. Either you see us, you accept us, or not. That's your choice. But at the end of the day, when I'm done doing whatever it is I'm doing for the day, I don't lose an ounce of sleep behind it. Now, the compassion because they're pushing back, that's nothing for me to be compassionate about. It's something, if anything, I'm concerned about them, but that's about it. That's as far as I can go. That's as far as I'm allowing myself to go. Because to go down that rabbit hole, now what I'm doing is I am hinging your decision for your life on my understanding of what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? And so when we put ourselves in that position, conviction and compassion when facing cultural pushback, change cultures, change the people that you find yourself spending your time with. That's the answer. Like again, you're not called to everybody. Everybody is not going to listen to what you got to say. Everybody don't want to listen to what I got to say. I understand that and I respect that. But at the end of the day, that does not mean I change anything about what it is that I'm saying because there are people who enjoy hearing the things that we say because they understand now something that they did not understand before.
Shout out to the Hearts of Men culture over here. You know what I'm saying?
Can I
Yeah.
can I alibi as you
Alibi.
speak as you speaking? I do have an answer, even though I do 100% agree with what Coach just said. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna say it and get it done. You can marry who you want to marry, and not retweet a picture of a famous black girl compared to a monkey. That's how you could do it.
That got dark fast.
Yeah, I missed that one.
I don't know it. I don't know it, bro. So that's why I said
RG3.
Oh, okay. I got you. Now I'm tracking.
Yeah,
Now I'm
and a
tracking.
retweet picture of Angel Reese. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Speaking of which, are there certain values or beliefs that are more likely to get men counseled? Now, we are speaking as if someone can actually get counseled. So, whether they're actually counseled or maybe if we don't want to use counsel, I guess we can use behavior that may be unproductive or maybe, I don't know. Feel free to change up the word counsel to something that may fit. I know we're talking about counsel, but are there certain values or beliefs?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
I'll say one, and then I yield the flow to Gaddy because I'm coming back on more. By the way,
Are you gonna come back around?
yeah, I'm coming back. We got a couple of them here. I will start off by saying I am not my ancestor. So when you start telling me about what Uncle Charlie did back in the 70s and Grandpa Pete and all that other good stuff, and you use that as your sounding board for how you behave today, I'm sorry, that just ain't gonna work for me. So I get it. There were some things that happened in the past that was bad, but I mean that's just good information to know. But if that shapes your behavior for today, I have no allegiance to that, nor do I need to follow it.
Who there's more? Because that's a lot you put a lot out there to unpack. I want to, but nah.
He said he's coming back around.
I know, but that one alone is like, man, we could start a whole nother conversation. Nah, but yeah, and it's sad. So for me, I hate to say it, but it's just talking about manhood or either talking about raising your children. And I say that because today I saw two videos. One of a father taking a picture with his daughter, hugging her, and a video of a daughter trying to take a selfie with her daddy, but he kissing her on the cheek. And both of those brothers were called the P word. Like that's sad. They millions of views, and most of those comments was about how they should all burn in HE double hockey sticks and how they're the most terrible people on earth. Like fatherhood is not comfortable in today's culture. And so just talking about being a man and being a parent is likely to get you canceled on public forums in today's society.
I got one. And this is specifically for black men. Putting your nose in black women's business will get your behind counseled all day. And what I mean by that is this. when you start telling women what they should or shouldn't do with their hair, when you start telling them about their weight, when you start telling them how they should do and stuff like that, those are some of the things that I have seen men get counseled for, good, bad, or indifferent. My personal opinion is they ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't a black woman. I ain't commenting or talking about stuff that they got going on in their life and their business. I'm on the hearts of men because I'm a man and I can relate to being a man way more than I can being a woman. So I prefer to stick to topics that I'm agreeing with. I'm not agree with topics that I understand and that are universal or are gender non-specific. But I think that when men start talking about specifics about how those women should be living their lives and wearing their hair and stuff like this, I think those are some of the things that get me in counsel.
Okay. I'm back around for round 2.
Oh, back around round 2.
Y'all not playing fair, by the way. I just want y'all to know that.
What do you mean?
Like, I want to talk about both of y'all points. Like,
hey, we can come back around.
Yeah,
I ain't talking about mine. I'm just saying.
Talk about it. I'm open to it. I'll say my next one is very unpopular and ain't gonna like it. But your job is one of the biggest enemies of relationships.
So talking about your job.
Talking about how the job market is destroying relationship will get you canceled.
Oh yeah. Yep. What you got, Gaddy? Tell me you want to expound on something?
Man,
job market.
Yours is dangerous. So I'm so it's not dangerous.
This question dangerous.
it's what came to my head. So because you mentioned something, and I need to stay off of YouTube, but I was watching one of the shorts of the little balloon pop game thing, and the women who didn't pop because a guy he preferred longer hair than the buzz cut hairstyle, and black women ate him up. I mean, they tried to, oh man, how dare you better just, and I'm like, so is it getting in their business by having a preference? Like there's 7, 8, 9, 10 women lined up, and I prefer to choose one of the ones that have more hair on their head. Now, if it's not medical, right? But that's a preference. It doesn't mean that he thinks she's a bad person, but that's just a preference. So is that the same? Like, and I know we got women in the chat. Y'all just gotta let me know, because that one bothers me. I just feel like it's a preference.
That question was directed at the Uncle Junior.
Yeah, it was.
You muted. Ha ha.
There I go. Going around. Maybe I shouldn't say what I was going to say then. Maybe that was a sign. That's just something like I think I know what you talk. I think I know what episode you're talking about. I think I saw that when I saw that little clip, and I thought the same thing. I just thought that bro just had a preference, but they ate him up. You know what I mean, for having a preference. So, but what happened was now he fell into the category of something that we probably talked about in the show today. Can men speak freely without risking social, financial, relational backlash? You know what I mean? And he was just speaking freely about his preference, and they, in a sense, kind of counseled him for having a preference. You know, a lot of people did. So I think it goes back to the space on that show. If he has watched that show, you can't be on Pop the Balloon and coming for women's hair. You can't do it. So he didn't read the room. He didn't do his homework before he went on the show. Because if he would have known, he would have not had went in that space and had that conversation. What he should have did, he should have hit us up, tried to come on Hearts of Men, and before the show, we could have talked about it over there.
But we ain't
hit
the
live button.
No date though.
Huh?
We ain't fixing to get you no date.
Not at all.
Get you no date. But we would have been able to have a conversation about it, but we wouldn't have had it live. Not me. But
Yeah, I've seen that. I didn't see the episode. I seen the clip
clip.
on TikTok, and I think somebody said in the chat that was just highly immature the way she responded to him. He clearly stated that that was just his preference.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what he said, and she was just going in and in and in and in and in, just because that's what she wanted to. And at the end of the day, that's part of the thing. Like, I'm not going to go because I don't necessarily. I have not seen. That's my caveat. I have not seen where men will talk specifically about a woman's hair, but what I have seen is a man will talk about what they like and what they don't like. And if what they don't like does not line up with you, now you have something to say about his preference. But wait, all before you want 6'4", 6-pack, 6-figure job, all this other great stuff. But you about 5'2", a good 275. Come on, man. Make it make sense. You get to have a preference, but he can have a preference.
All got preferences. All got preferences. I like that was a good one. Moving right along to some scenarios, folks. Scenarios. First scenario tonight. Mr. Rowland shares a faith-based post online and loses half of his followers. Should he change or stand firm? Gentlemen,
Wait.
should Rowland stand firm or should he change his content?
Wait,
He
is this
ain't
true?
scared to defend himself.
No,
man.
not true. These are just scenarios.
Is it on me?
I don't know. I'll go. If he lost half his followers, so be it. He probably didn't know him anyway.
Yo, bots. Probably was bots. I'm with that, man. Like, bro, I'm not changing. If y'all roll out, y'all weren't my followers anyway. You know what I'm saying? So those the ones I didn't want anyway. Now I know who really is on my team and who's not. If I lost those.
This is really about Roland, not really the followers, because if you change because you lost followers, then it wasn't faith. It was just faith-based, like you said. So that's how I view this one. If it's your faith, and so your content is faith-based because you have faith in what you believe in, then you can't change. Faith wouldn't allow you to change. But if you change, then it ain't faith, it's just faith-based.
Now, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna switch it up and I'm gonna make this okay. Not okay, I'm gonna change it up. So if Roland, not Roland that's on here, just some random Roland, his content is about going to clubs and popping bottles, and he's trying to make money off his content, and he posts a faith-based thing, and he lose followers, then maybe he should change, because the intent is to him to make money and get followers. And that's the only reason why I would say he should change it. If the intent is to make money and get followers and not to really post a faith-based message or something like that, then if he's trying to make money, he's going to have to switch it up. He got to take that down, got to apologize and do whatever else, because the intent is to make money. So if you got 1 million followers, you go down to 500,000, your YouTube check going to look a little bit different. But again, if it's not about faith and whatever like that, and you trying to be true to yourself and you want to post faith-based content and you don't care about the people on the other side, then absolutely. I do not agree that he should change his content.
Can he do the same? Can he do both though? I'm asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I knew you was gonna do it. I knew I didn't want to say it. I knew I didn't want to say it.
Absolutely. Because I believe, like, okay, can he post things that are rooted in biblical doctrine on a consistent basis and have a large following at the same time, and then just happen to get money? Like, I don't think that that's wrong.
But I'll even flip. I'll even flip though. Let's take the extreme. there are hundreds of influencers that are making faith-based content, sitting in their car talking faith-based, while also posting content of them in nightclubs at night.
Yep.
And there's a following for them.
Huge.
And so I'm not looking at Roland as changing his because he's I don't think he's losing money.
Okay.
Because there are people out there who believe in living in both worlds, and they like that. It makes those people who and I get what you're saying, Coach. That's why I said on the extreme, right? But there are those people out there who want influencers like that because it makes me feel comfortable knowing that I don't have to change in order to be redeemed. I'm not saying that is true, but there's people out there that believe that way.
That's why I held it. I was like, you are not a genuine person. I would say that you're not genuine. Sure, that might be who you are, but you're not genuine. That's just it. Like, you vacillate. 1 minute you're here, then the next minute you're over here. Like, I don't really know who you are. And if I don't know who you are, then how can I take anything that you're doing seriously? So the next time you put out a faith-based post, I don't even believe that you believe that. I just believe you're putting it out there for the algorithm.
I get that. Yeah.
Right.
I like it. That was a good one. Next scenario of the night. Here we go. Dwayne turns down the brand deal that wants him to tone down his message. Is that been wise? Was that been weak?
This is true.
We on Hearts of Me and Code. Hey, we trying to get some ads pumping. You need to tone it down, brother.
This is true. I'm not lying.
Hey, I'm gonna. Hey, I bet you a few years ago it had to do something with that speaking engagement too, probably. Yep. See, I peep game without peep. That's why I never had to ask, because I know the game. I know better. And you see what he did, what he chose though. Question answered.
There was I can't say the name. There was a very well-known company that wanted me to fly out to California and speak, but they wanted to set the parameters of the speech. And I was like, nope, not gonna do it.
So, in your opinion, or in your perspective, that's been wise.
You said it's what now?
Being wise, just based
Absolutely.
off of this,
Absolutely.
scenario. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you are a person that, and this is, take it with a grain of salt. If you believe a thing and you talk about that thing on a consistent basis, and somebody wants you to come do something for them, and they're going to pay you money for it, but they want you to censor what you're saying. They don't want you to talk about this. They don't want you to talk about this. Well, you don't want me. You want somebody else. You want somebody like me. You just don't want me. And at the end of the day, I don't want to waste your time and go do this whole shell game going back and forth with you, trying to convince you why what I talk about is important, whatever the case may be. So to your question, that is wise. It's wise that once you understand who you are, once you know what you're called to do that, and don't allow anybody to change you, and don't be bought for it.
Go ahead.
I'm a firm believer in the right things take a little bit longer. And so reason why it's wise is because if I take this assignment sent by the wrong master to move me off my square and to water my message, I am now expected to water that message going forth, which makes it a hard, long road back to my authentic self. But if I wait the course and I stay true to who I am, when those doors open back up, they know who I am. They know what to expect. And now they are hiring me, not who I was pretending to be to get the first gig. It's kind of like when we hear those actors who play a role so well they can't get pulled out of that role. But when you start to cross the line and go left then right, well, you're going to always be expected to play on the line. While you did well, you did it over here. You could do it over here. You may make a lot of money, but you'll lose yourself in the process.
That's why you hear some of those senior actors tell the young ones, "Don't put on that dress. No, don't put on
Right.
that dress. Whatever you do, don't put the dress on."
Right.
Do it. I like all of that. I think the only thing that I kind of want to add to that is that maybe I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but maybe a question. Is there a line between making adjustments and toning it down? Because if I'm brand new and I got a podcast and someone's like, hey, we're gonna pay you a whole bunch of money, but for the space that we're going in, maybe you shouldn't swear, right? But that's who I am. You know what I mean? I say a couple cuss words here and there. So is adjusting or taking a couple of words out the same as toning it down? Or is that, I guess I'm trying to look at, is there some room for flexibility when it comes to toning down to whereas it doesn't necessarily make you wise or weak? I really don't like the weak part, you know what I mean? But that's the word that I got in here. Now I'm thinking about I should have put something else in there. But what do you think, Coach?
You what size shoe you wear?
9.
9. So you come to my store. I don't have nothing to 9. Would you take this 8.5? What about this 13 I got in that particular shoe?
Say less.
That's just the point.
Yeah.
I think if they want you, they want
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
If they just want somebody, then they'll go find the somebody that they want that lines up with what it is that they want.
Mm.
But if they
Okay.
came to you specifically, it was something about you that drew you together.
Mhm.
And they should not be asking you to change your message. If they're asking you to change your message, remove this word or remove no, remember those same curse words you were saying? That's that's part of the message they heard when they came to you.
Mhm. I like it. I like it.
I think it's a fine line. Maybe I may not. I agree with Coach when it pertains to your specific scenario, but I look at it. I look at it this way, and I could be saying a totally different thing. And if I am, correct me. But it feels like every Sunday, uh, the ladies on our panels got to remind me that certain words you can't say no more. But this word for us, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Some of these things were just it was just words, right? Forget the 80s and 90s. Last year, we was able to say certain things on these social media platforms. And now these words would knock you off the algorithm, would knock you off the FYU, would censor your videos on YouTube because certain things that you said or did. And we make the adjustments to keep this platform on this platform. I know, right? But it didn't compromise an adjustment like that didn't compromise or doesn't compromise our message or our purpose, what we come for. So I think that's the line, right? You're not telling me to adjust myself or adjust my image. Is the platform is just not allowing certain things. Yes, sir.
You agreed to that when you signed up with them. It's called
Right.
compliance. So
Right.
even like I get what you're saying, but everybody who joined that platform, they agreed to the compliance of that. They agreed to the rules of that platform. And so when they say certain words can't be said, well, it's not that I get to come into it and say whatever it is I want to say, regardless of what they say. There's consequences and that's justice. Unlike cancel culture, that is absolute justice right there. If you do what we told you not to do, we're going to ban you for a week.
Yeah. And that's why I said there's the fine line between adjustment. That's adjustment.
Well, I don't see that as being the same, though. I don't see it as being the same. I see that as if I'm going to talk on that platform, I agree to their terms. That's that, and it was up to me. I didn't have to join that platform. I could have stayed over on YouTube or whatever, right? But when I agreed to join that platform, now I'm agreeing to their rules, which ideally I was supposed to read in the beginning and then hit the little check mark and then move forward. That's compliancy.
Touche.
Like it. As we move along, we running out of time. So real quick, let me throw in fact and myth, and then the question, maybe, depending on how this goes, and then we'll wrap up with final thoughts, folks. So again, appreciate everybody for being here this evening. If you haven't already, go hit that like button, hit the notification button so you can be notified when Coach drops more content, and share it with someone who may benefit from this show. So moving down to fact or myth, MYFF, myth. All right. First one, once you're canceled, you're done for good. Fact or myth?
I think it's
Why
myth.
that's so big?
I think it's myth.
It's absolutely myth.
Myth. Yeah, I agree. It's a myth. Men are more likely to be canceled than women.
Fact.
They fact.
I plead the fifth. Nah, the fact that I plead the fifth was me jokingly.
I wasn't expecting that answer, Coach. I was expecting more,
Well, I tend
wasn't expecting it.
to surprise people from time to time.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely shocked because that's what I initially thought, but I was like, okay. I agree because they can do the same thing.
All you got to do is look at the preponderance of the population.
Yeah. Got it. I mean, the same thing with Pop the Balloon that you were just talking about. It's men that get on there. I've seen clips of men on there and seen the show with men. One of the things they talk about, I don't like men with dreads. I don't like men with bald head. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, you don't like bald head dudes, and put on the hat. I get it now. All right. Fact or myth? You're safe from cancel culture if you stay quiet.
Cancel culture wins.
Thank you.
So you ain't safe?
Well, that's the whole point behind cancel culture.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for a long time. That's what they want to do. They want to whip you into submission.
Mm-hmm.
I agree because silence, and when we're talking about something like this, silence is compliance. If I stay silent because I don't want your backlash, then I just complied.
Gotcha. Being canceled only affects celebrities. Fact or myth?
I say myth.
Does it affect celebrities?
It does. It does.
I know one you're thinking about right now. He did that to himself.
Who, Shannon Sharp?
No. You talking about Will?
Yay.
Oh, Yee?
Yeah. He did it. I ain't calling him Yee. Yay. The last name Kanye. He's Yay.
Kanye's not Kanye.
Yeah, he did that to himself. I think their celebrity status kind of overshadows the whole cancel culture. It's like if he was to release an album tomorrow, if Will Smith was after smacking Chris Rock, came out with another movie, if I don't know whoever else out there, they did what they normally do, would you not go watch it? I'm gonna write you're gonna go watch it.
Yeah, but so his next movie flopped. I can't remember.
According to his previous movies, yes.
Yeah.
It don't mean he didn't still get his regular check though.
Yeah,
he's still gonna get his money. At least in my opinion.
You can say what you want to say with the boy. The boy's a good actor.
Now, by the time Bad Boy came out again, we forgot Chris who?
Hulk Hogan didn't get canceled. He only got canceled in certain communities.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? He didn't get canceled everywhere.
Yeah.
I saw both sides of that.
Yep.
I saw certain people mourning, and I saw certain people unmourning.
Bashing.
Yeah.
So the same thing.
But I also saw the same. I also saw the same people that he talked about, mourning. So, but I don't think it affects all celebrities, but I believe it does affect celebrities but it goes back to what we said before. It is a myth that once you're canceled, you're always canceled, because they definitely canceled Dave Chappelle. but he came back.
This is what I mean when I say perspective matters, because we view celebrity through the lens of our own struggles.
Right.
Dave Chappelle, like you said, Dave Chappelle wasn't hurting for money when he got canceled. He just got a $50 million contract. When he walked off that set because he got tired of doing what they was asking him to do, right? He trust me, he was good. And at the end of the day, all of the people within his niche, all of them said that dude right there, when it comes down to being a comedian, is top shelf. Period. So even in that, he wasn't really canceled. It didn't affect him. He still ate. His bills were still paid. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. When we look at stuff like this, celebrities they're not affected as we think they are, right? Because at the end of the day, they're pretty much already established. That's how they end up. Like case in point, Ryan Clark. Y'all see the little beef between Ryan Clark and RG3. No,
RG3.
no, I'm sorry, not RG3. Cam Newton, right?
Oh,
Yeah, a little beef between them. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if the culture decided they wanted to cancel Ryan Clark tomorrow, he could care less. The dude was in the NFL for however many years, and he's
Yeah.
on ESPN. He still got his job on ESPN. You ain't got to listen to this podcast.
So, but are we? So on that same token, though, but are we looking at canceled in the same lens? Because cancel not meaning that I made you homeless. Cancel just means I stopped the stream of income.
Make you irrelevant.
I'm either made you irrelevant or silenced you at the moment.
Or that platform is your means of income. So when I do counsel you, it affects your pocket.
Yeah, that's what people think. Yeah.
Here we go. Last one. Speaking your truth is always worth it. Fact or myth?
And what did you say when I used that word feelings? That's how I feel about that word your before truth.
I always cringe when I see it.
So we doing the myth? This is a myth? Mything it up?
It has to be because it's your truth. Who cares?
Right.
All right. So I like it. And I appreciate that. It was fun. I've had a good evening, man. We're going to close up with final thoughts. So we're going to go around the table. We're going to start with Gaddy, then Coach, and then I will close us out. Let me go find it.
Man, let God be true and every man be a lie. So if you standing on the Most High, you standing on truth, right? You stand, and if you standing on that truth, stand on business. I really ain't got that much to say. Stand on your square. Don't be on. Got to be steadfast, unmovable, always about it in the word of the Lord. That's all I got.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of that. I think when you look at the topic of this conversation, it's titled "The Uncancelable Man," and I think we have to ask ourselves, who is an uncancelable man? And that man, I believe, is a man who speaks the truth. Going back to what Brother Gaddy just said, if you speak the truth, then you are a asset and a benefit to everybody that you're around. And I think too many times we like to put our opinions, we like to put how we feel about things and intertwine that into certain things, but try to remove that from the equation and just speak the truth. Be a bit like, if you're in a relationship, be transparent with the truth when it comes down to it. I promise you the truth will benefit that person over anything else that you can share. So who is an uncancelable man? An uncancelable man is a man that speaks the truth.
To kind of piggyback off of Coach's final thought, the truth is very important. I think when you speak the truth, I think that when you are unapologetically who you are and you know who you are, I think that cancellation is something that you don't really have to worry about too much. I think when you take the time to focus and work and build on your brand, which is who you are as a man or as a person, I think that, worrying and focusing on what other people are doing or what other people have to say to you becomes a lot less relevant in your life. So my final thoughts to kind of conclude is just, if you're out there and you're listening to this, keep working on yourself, keep building yourself, keep building your brand, keep trying to be a better person or better version of yourself every day. Continue to work on your mindset, continue to work on your consistency in life and all things. And then I think if you do those things, you don't have time in your life to be worried about who and what is going to counsel you, because you're focused on other things. So that's my final thoughts for this evening. Gentlemen, I have really enjoyed this conversation. Council culture conversation, because we ain't really had one before. We kind of talked around it, and we see it's something that we see on a regular basis. Almost every day we cut the TV on and someone have done something that some would say is going to get somebody canceled. And then we kind of follow down a little path sometime and kind of see what happens at the end. So it was just nice to have a conversation about it, and then how those things affect us and even the things that we post online. So anything else you guys got before we hit this end stream button?
No, I'm good, man. Tomorrow morning, 10:30, we got reframing the image of relationships. So make sure that you guys are here. It's still going to be a fun conversation. That's talking about church hurt. So yeah, y'all come on out and support that. Also, again, August 16th. Make sure that you are present for August 16th. Last but not least, looking at show notes. If you have not gotten your ebook, The Connection Code, it is still available. It will change at the end of the month, and then there will be a new ebook available as well. So that being said, that's all I got, man.
All right. Until next Friday, gentlemen, I will see y'all, and have a good weekend.